RichardCKoo, The Holy Grail of Macroeconomics, Lessons from Japan's Great Recession. Discover how the concept of balance sheet recessions offers a new perspective on large-scale economic downturns, and the appropriate policy responses. Derived from an in-depth analysis of Japan's Great Recession, which occurred between 1990 and 2005, this book reveals how collective corporate behavior can unexpectedly shift from expansion to debt reduction, causing declines in investment, borrowing, and spending. Prepare to gain valuable insights on the importance of recognizing the yin and yang phases of an economy and develop a deeper understanding of how government policies can either nurture or impede economic recovery.
Rethinking Economic Downturns. An analysis of Japan's Great Recession offers a new perspective on responding effectively to harmful slumps. The concept of balance sheet recession suggests that major economic crises stem from the bursting of some type of bubble, leading to declines in investment, borrowing, and spending, and ultimately, recession. This understanding challenges conventional economic theory and calls for new recovery policies. If the Great Depression was also a balance sheet recession, it offers insights into how to more quickly address future downturns. The overlooked factor. The impact of corporate debt reduction on the wider economy went unnoticed until the early 2000s. Analysts have always looked to interest rates and monetary policy to explore the dynamics of managing aggregate demand, but they failed to consider the collective corporate behavior of minimizing debt when faced with balance sheet problems. Corporations repairing their balance sheets cause a decrease in investments, leading to a decline in corporate earnings, household incomes, and eventually the entire economy. The book highlights the need for economists to consider this typical corporate response to burst asset bubbles. Reversing economic downturns. In times of economic downturns, government policies have always assumed that corporations are looking to borrow money for expansion, and the blame is often placed on bankers' reluctance to make loans. However, applying monetary solutions such as increasing the money supply or lowering interest rates fails when private debt is high and businesses are reducing rather than adding obligations. Fiscal policies like the government borrowing and spending money have been successfully used in the past to lift the economy, particularly during the Great Depression. This approach can still be effective during a balance sheet recession, whereby the government borrows and spends the savings generated by the private sector, allowing household savings and corporate debt repayments to be returned to the income stream. While too much stimulus can lead to higher inflation and interest rates, moderating its use can produce a positive result. Fiscal spending for economic recovery. Despite high national debts like that of Japan, economists suggest that the benefits of fiscal spending for economic recovery far outweigh the burdens of future debt. Cutting government spending too early into the recovery could harm the economy's growth further. Japan's early fiscal retrenchment in the late 90s led to the economy's contraction for 5 consecutive quarters. Annual stimulus packages are crucial in times of crisis to prevent a deflationary gap and promote economic growth. Once corporate balance sheets are healthy, the private sector can resume borrowing, ensuring a vibrant economy to repay future debts. Balancing conventional economic theory. The concept of balance sheet recession both corroborates and enhances classical economic theory, while defining when conventional policies are effective. The theory posits that when companies pursue profits, yang phase, monetary policies manipulate interest rates to influence borrowing. However, when the economy is in a yin phase, with the aftermath of an asset bubble, monetary policies fail as there is no borrowing. In such phases, fiscal interventions facilitate economic recovery till the private sector regains financial health. Therefore, the key difference is the financial condition of the private sector. The Yin-Yang cycle of economic functioning. The book presents a broader approach to macroeconomic theory that considers yin and yang economies, which follow a sequence of 9 stages. A balance sheet recession follows after an asset bubble bursts, and during the yin phase, lowering interest rates or raising the money supply may encourage asset bubbles instead of helping the economy. The author advises against using Yang policies such as fiscal retrenchment during a Yin phase or aggressive fiscal stimulus during a Yang phase. The private sector takes time to recover from balance sheet damage, and a government move to end spending too soon can cause severe setbacks. The private sector depends on monetary policy, while fiscal policy influences private investment during the Yang phase of the cycle. The Yin-Yang economy cycle is crucial in detecting transitions between phases and in choosing the appropriate tools, as a recession that fails to improve after interest rates have been lowered indicates the shift from Yang to Yin. The author advises a switch to fiscal stimulus during such transitions and warns against ignoring the realities of balance sheet recessions. Understanding economic cycles. In order to counter economic downturns and return to economic health, world leaders must understand the yin-yang phases of economic growth and recession. The book suggests that economies are prone to bubbles in step 4 of the yin-yang cycle, making markets volatile and misdirecting economic resources. The handling of Japan's recession serves as an example of the consequences of applying Yang policy tactics to ward off a depression. The book proposes a comprehensive understanding of the yin-yang phases of economic growth and recession to insulate economies from dangerous asset bubbles that trigger balance sheet recessions. By temporarily creating budget deficits through government spending, economies can recover enough to find productive uses for funds and return to economic health.
By examining the phases of large-scale economic downturns, such as Japan's Great Recession, economists can change their approach towards appropriate government policies in response to balance sheet recessions. Recognizing the switch from expansion to corporate debt reduction highlights the crucial role of fiscal policy and stimulus in supporting the economy during such periods. However, adopting the wrong policies, such as early fiscal retrenchment or aggressive stimulus during the Yang phase, could be detrimental to economic stability. A comprehensive understanding of Yin and Yang phases can help countries manage economic crises more effectively and encourage growth, while avoiding dangerous asset bubbles. Ultimately, the lessons learned from the Great Depression and Japan's Great Recession serve as important guidelines for formulating responses and preventing potential future crises.